Students, now let me start with restructuring strategies. What is restructuring? The word restructuring means reorganizing a business. Okay. Now, how can reorganizing a business happen? The first one is mergers and takeovers. Okay. Mergers means what? We had done this before, that two or more companies are now into one company. I had given you the example of Audi. Okay. The second one is takeover. I'm just quickly going through this because all this has already been done before. The second point we have is takeover. What is a takeover? It means the acquisition of a block of equity capital of a company which enables the acquirer to control the affairs. For example, in one company, you can take over by 20%, 40% by buying the shares of the company. Okay, but not more than 50%. That is the rule. That's a thumb rule. Okay. The second heading that I have is portfolio restructuring. Now, what it means portfolio? Portfolio can be done through divestiture or demerger, okay, or buying the shares of the company. Let's understand each in detail. The first one I have is purchase of division or plant. Now, plant out here does not mean like you're growing a plant, like where the factory is or where that thing is, like a plant. Are you understand, like one division, like you might not buy the entire thing, but one division of it which is not doing that well or which requires restructuring, so that is one division, is known as a plant. So let's understand the third point in portfolio restructuring, that is purchase of division or plant. A firm can purchase a division or a plant of another firm for the purpose of improving its market share and financial position. It's realizing that there are only three competitors. I am there, that other firm is there whom I want to purchase that division or plant, and a third person is there. If I acquire the second person, then I will easily get a 50% market share, which is a good thing. And somewhere in close to in future years, I can also become a monopoly. So that is one reason of purchasing a division or a plant. The fourth that I have is divestiture. Divestiture. Okay, so divestiture. Now, what happens in this? It refers to the sale of a division or a plant or a unit of one firm to another. That means what? Somebody is taking, for example, L&T sold, okay, its cement unit to Birla, AV Birla Group on, to focus on its engineering business. So it is selling it one part so that it can focus on its main thing. So this is also one form when it is selling one thing so that it can focus on the other one, and it was getting a very good price. So that is known as portfolio restructuring. For whom? For AV Birla Group. Are you understanding? Because it has bought what? It has bought from L&T, the cement unit. So now it can focus only on the cement thing, AV Birla Group, okay? And L&T can focus more on the engineering goods, what it is doing. Thus, the fifth point I have is demerger. Let's understand what is demerger. A demerger takes place when a firm transfers one of more of its units to another firm. Are you understanding? And this unit that is transferred is the resulting company. Are you understanding? Now, the main reasons for this demerger can be is because the company feels that it might lose its independent company, or the existing company will lose its existence, and new entities would come into existence. So all these are one of the reasons for demerger. Okay. The third point we have is financial restructuring. Now, in financial restructuring, it involves a significant change in the financial structure of the firm and of the pattern of ownership and control. So let's understand this. What is there? First, the sixth point is going public. See, a lot of times the private limited companies, they want to go public. And even sole trading companies, they want to become, or partnerships, they want to go public because they have made a lot of profits over the years, so they want a lot of access for its growth and expansion plans. That's why they have gone public. तो वो शेयर से नए आईपीओ से they will increase, they will get a lot of money, like everybody buying my shares, I would get a lot of money to start my company, and the shareholders will get dividends, or in case the share prices go up, that also is going to really help. Then the next thing I have is leveraged buyout. That sorry, I have the seventh point as debt equity swap. Now, what do I mean by debt equity swap? When a firm finds it difficult to survive its existing debt, matlab interest payment and repayment of principal, it might convert this debt into equity. That means this move is called debt equity swap, and it reduces the debt burden. And the good example is Kingfisher Airlines. Okay, in March 2011, Kingfisher Airlines converted its debt of 750 crores. Okay, by selling the shares. उसने shares launch किए and they were sold. The shares आए were up to around 64 rupees के आसपास से. So it was listed to around 2.65 crores. तो उसका जो है ना, it helped them by debt was converted into equity. तो उसका उतना लेवल पे उसका क्या बोलते हैं, जो भी पैसा था जो देने का था वो थोड़ा लेस हो गया. Are you understanding? But again, the negative side is if the company is band ho gayi, then all the money, all the shareholders have actually made tremendous losses. So not all debt equity swap can be trustworthy. Okay, that is a little negative side of the debt equity swap that can take place. The eighth point we have is leveraged buyout. So it normally involves an acquisition of a division or unit of a company, and occasionally it involves the purchase of the entire company. So that is known as leveraged buyout. So यहाँ पे क्या होता है, this when the purchase of a unit is mostly financed by debt finance and low equity. That is why I'm leveraging the entire buyout. Are you understanding? The ninth one is buyback of shares. Okay. Now, a share buyback involves a firm's decision to repurchase its own shares from the market. Okay. India mein also it is allowed. SEBI has laid down guidelines for buyback of shares. The main reason for buyback are it's like a defensive strategy against a potential takeover, because somebody wants to take over. So when the company is doing the buyback, it's realizing that once I have 60% shares with me, then the person who is taking over will give me a better money for my company. Are you understanding? Or to provide better returns to the remaining shareholders in futures as a number of shareholdings get reduced. So those are the reasons of buyback of shares. Okay. Fourth kind of restructuring strategies I have is organizational restructuring. मतलब पूरा example Tata Group, they want to restructure. So that is one example of organizational restructuring. Let's understand the 10th point. Okay. Regrouping of business. Now what is regrouping of business? अभी जब मल्टी प्रोडक्ट फर्म्स है, मेरे पास ये भी है, मैं सीमेंट में भी हूँ, मैं हाउस होल्ड प्रोडक्ट्स में भी हूँ, मैं इसमें भी हूँ, then I want to regroup. So I have is a SBU, strategic business units. उसका short form है SBU, strategic business units. They are created to manage effectively each of the products or a group of products. So that is known as regrouping of business. They are known as strategic business units. Are you understanding? So what they do is, like एक पूरा ये जो पोर्ट्रे है, it's like an SBU. Are you understanding? तो सब चीज, मतलब मेरा खाना पीने का, मेरा सीमेंट इंडस्ट्री, वो सब एक SBU में आ गया of Tata Motors or टाटाज, so that is one name, my SBU comes. फिर भले उसके अंदर मेरे पास 4 फर्म्स है, तो वो 4 फर्म्स एक SBU में आ गया, and that is known as regrouping of Tatas. So that is known as regrouping of Tatas. Are you understanding? So एक product या group of products, they came under one group and that becomes an SBU. Okay. And the 11th point I have is business process re-engineering. Now, what do I have in business process re-engineering? I want to redesign, okay, the process by which an organization operates so that I can redo the design of my products, Like for example, पहले जो Hyundai की cars थी, वो थोड़े और shape में थी. अभी 20 साल के बाद आज थोड़े और शेप्स में और थोड़े बेटर कलर्स में दिखेंगे. सो दिस इज नोन एज बिजनेस प्रोसेस री-इंजीनियरिंग. ओके, इसके बाद द 12th पॉइंट आई हैव इज डाउनसाइजिंग. नाउ व्हाट डू आई मीन बाय डाउनसाइजिंग? दैट मैंने जो प्रोडक्ट्स थे और जो मेरी कंपनी में 15 प्रोडक्ट्स थे, अभी मैंने उसको रिड्यूस किए हैं. सो दिस इज नोन एज वॉलंटरी रिटायरमेंट स्कीम. ओके, wherein अभी 15 में से I will focus only on 10 good products. So that is known as downsizing. And 13th one I have is outsourcing. You will see a lot of times to save on the cost, or into variable cost or whatever. A telco and other companies are resorting to outsourcing. Okay, ठीक है. So what I will do is, मैं थोड़ा है ना, मेरे जो लैंड है और वो है, I will give it to somebody else, and who will be doing the business for me, and I will give him an X amount, so that my time is saved, my employees are not getting extra burdened, and I can focus on my core business. So certain activities I am outsourcing from somewhere, so that is known as outsourcing. Okay, now the last kind of restructuring strategies I have is rehabilitation schemes. अभी ये क्या होता है, जो सिक यूनिट्स होते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, मेरा विलेज में एक पापड़ मेकिंग यूनिट है, ओके, और वो 3 साल से वो लॉस कर रहा है, तो उसको बोलते हैं सिक यूनिट्स. अभी मुझे ये सिक यूनिट्स कैसे रिवाइव करना है, उसके लिए आई विल हैव इज रिहैबिलिटेशन स्कीम्स. ओके, लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आर दोस स्कीम्स. पहला तरीका है सेटलमेंट विद क्रेडिटर्स. ओके, सो अभी जो मेरी क्रेडिटर्स है, सप्लायर्स है, डिबेंचर होल्डर्स है, उनके साथ में पेमेंट वगैरह के लिए एक मीटिंग बुलाती हूँ. मेरा जो डेप्थ है मैं उसको इक्विटी में कन्वर्ट कर दूंगी, या जो भी इंस्टॉलमेंट मुझे देना है जिसमें मैं नहीं दे पा रही हूँ, उसकी पहले है ना, मैं वो सब बर्डन कैसे बोलते हैं, मांडवाली करने को. So I am going to just do is negotiate with my creditors, and I am making sure जो मेरा extra money जा रहा है पहले मैं उसको बंद करूं. ये एक तरीका है, that is known as settlement with creditors. दूसरा तरीका आपको पता है divestment, या तो dispose कर दो या तो sell कर दो, वो दूसरा तरीका है, वो sick unit को बंद कर दो. तीसरा तरीका है, मैं पूरे कॉस्ट को मॉनिटर कर रही हूँ, अननेसेसरी एक्सपेंस है, वो सब मैं, फिजूल की खर्ची है, वो सब मैं बंद कर रही हूँ. उसको बोलते हैं सिक कंट्रोल ओवर कॉस्ट. तो उससे मेरी जो सिक यूनिट है उसका एक्स्ट्रा एडिशनल बर्डन कॉस्ट वो बंद हो जाएगा. द 17th पॉइंट आई हैव इज स्ट्रीमलाइनिंग ऑफ ऑपरेशंस. तो यहाँ पे क्या होएगा, बिजनेस ऑपरेशंस हैज टू बी रिव्यूड. ओके, जो भी अनप्रोडक्टिव एक्टिविटीज है, जो जरूरत नहीं है, उसको बंद कर लो. सो दैट इज नोन एज जरूरत एक्टिविटी को नहीं करने का, दैट इज नोन एज स्ट्रीमलाइनिंग ऑफ ऑपरेशंस. आर यू अंडरस्टैंडिंग? एंड द 18th पॉइंट आई हैव इज प्रोविजन ऑफ एडिशनल कैपिटल. समटाइम्स थोड़ा एक्स्ट्रा कॉस्ट की जरूरत है, और उससे शायद आपका ये जो सिक यूनिट है या पापड़ मेकिंग यूनिट है वो शायद चल पड़े, या थोड़े मशीन नए डाल दो, और द लोन्स है वो थोड़े कम पैसे में थोड़ा और करके या दूसरे सोर्सेस से वो चल जाएगा. सो ऑल दीज वुड बी योर restructuring strategies, and the rehabilitation schemes would also help you to get better results. So what are the 5 types of restructuring strategies we did? The first one was mergers and acquisitions. The second one was takeover. The third one was, the second one was portfolio restructuring. The third one that we did was, anybody remembering? Third one we did was financial restructuring. The fourth one we did was organizational restructuring. And the fifth one we did was rehabilitation screen. Are you understanding?